It's just beautiful to see people gathered and feel that energy of people gathering, and then when you're working together around something that you all care about, it's like that passion circulating. That's what sustains me, and then the work itself, it's bolstered by that as well.
What sustains me is just knowing that, I am just one person out of millions of people right now in the world doing this work, but also placing it in kind of a historical context where people have been doing this work really since the beginning of humanity in different forms, and understanding your role, your very small but yet could be very crucial role.
What sustains my work? My community. It makes all the difference to me in being able to do the work that I do.
The need to see social change. That's what sustains my conviction.
Well, what sustains my work is definitely the young people, right? Really seeing them adopt the themes and the labeling and the works and the workshops that we go through, right? Literally seeing them in action, changing their lives.
Sustains it is probably a knowledge of history, which I acquired early on as a young man. And just plain consciousness as a black man, knowing that you have certain work to do in order to make it better for the next generation. So it's things of that nature that, keeps you going. And you have a sense of purpose.
I made myself a promise when I was about 14. And I chose a way of life that hasn't always been easy, but I made a commitment, and it's that commitment and that promise to stay in social justice work no matter what, whether I get paid for it or I don't get paid for it. I think it's a something that burns inside some of us.
It's very helpful to know that you have people that have your back, and if you're not out there doing it, that someone else is out there doing it for you. I just feel that as activists and as organizers, it's important for us to reach out and let people know when we need help, and let people know when we're not feeling like we're being sustained. Because if we're doing this work, I feel like it's very important to do it in a way that is liberatory. Do it in a way that that we're actualizing our freedom, and not creating the same sort of capitalist work culture in the way that we do things. So I believe that we can sustain each other if we choose to.
To not be so bureaucratic, and not think, even though I know there are reporting requirements, not to make that more important than meeting the needs of the youth or the person that you're working with. Since I work with youth primarily, that's why I'm speaking about youth. It's because sometimes it needs to be heard fully without intervention measures in order for the healing to happen on a real level, and also to think about a more holistic approach, like that you may remove a child from a situation now, but how do you really heal that family? And so how are you dealing with things on like a family perspective as well? So.
Some people feel like social service providers, the only thing that they can do is act in a fairly reformist way, which is, alleviate the pain a little bit, or basically what some people term putting a band-aid on something that's a much larger wound, and thus not really getting at the heart of the wound or the heart of the problem. But I know all kinds of social workers who are able to get deeper than just the band-aid while doing whatever good work they're doing, and alleviate whatever smaller wounds that they might be working on at the time, but yet within that context still bring up these larger structural questions, both like in terms of their moments one-on-one with people, but also within the larger institutions that they operate, the funders that fund them, bringing up key questions to them about how they need to, be able to go deeper, and how they need to be able to address some of these things more at the root. And therein, I think, lies the difference between, radical social workers and other social workers, and understanding that radical just simply means to get to the root of. I think it's important to keep in mind that no matter what work we're doing, whether we're social workers or selling lettuce at the farmers market, you're whatever you're doing, the day-to-day has to be combined with answering these kind of more fundamental questions that are able to get at some of the heart of some of the issues and the problems that you're dealing with.
Really challenging the dominant paradigms of health and healthcare in this country, and also really challenging issues of public health. We're taught so often that there's this specific dogma that we have to believe around, who can get services and what kind of hoops they have to jump through in order to get them. And I think challenging that, and also really understanding and talking about how healthcare, the kind of healthcare people access really depends on the kinds of oppressions that they face. Doing things like always having a sliding scale, determining that sliding scale with people in the community as opposed to imposing it on the community, finding out what kinds of services people need, and also having training programs and having mentorship that isn't inaccessible for individuals from different communities.
Organizing, mainly trying to establish economic programs. That's what's needed in our communities today. We don't control our own economics. And so that's effectively why we are lacking in our communities.
We can be providers of change simply by opening lines of communication, whether that be by means of poetry, by means of of visual arts, by means of rapping, whatever it is, allowing your experience to be the platform so that you can communicate with others.
How can they not be agents of change? I mean, I think it's the responsibility. It's my responsibility to see that those people in prison are well cared for, that people know about them. Any social worker, any social change agent has a responsibility to go out in the world and see that people are being treated appropriately, that they're fed, that they're clothed. I have met social workers who seem to feel as if it's their money that they're giving away or their clothing that they're giving away. That's not the spirit of social change. I believe that this world needs a social revolution, and I think that social workers have the capacity to be very involved in that social revolution.
So being in a direct service providing position, I look at it like, what the Panthers were doing back in the day, with the free breakfast programs, or, getting kids tested for sickle cell anemia. They were able to provide services, but they were also able to provide a consciousness about revolution, a consciousness about, changing things for the better.